What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. A little tired today. Recording this later Saturday evening. Pretty busy week this week. Mostly we're going to cover newsy stuff. Very little charts and graphs. We're definitely be some charts and graphs, but not a ton. A lot of news, random catch-up stuff to kind of get into today. I am fresh off a Card Collector 2 trade night. Shout out to Ryan and his team who put on a absolutely fantastic event. This one was a little bit different than normal. He was actually set up tents outside, closed his parking lot down, set up tents outside, two massive tents plus tables in the middle because rain held off. And there was a ton of people there. Posted a picture of it on IG. He'll obviously have his vlog and everything, but him and his team do a fantastic job down there doing these trade nights. Kenny Fornos and Taxi, Sports Card Taxi, flew in for this one. Roth was supposed to be there as well, but he could not make it. He was a little under the weather. But I talked to Kenny for a while, talked to a lot of other friends that I have made along the way in this wonderful collecting journey. But these events are fantastic. They are a ton of fun, whether it's a trade night, a card show, whatever it is. It's a blast. I had a fantastic time. I was there for 4 hours, over 4 hours. And I did not acquire a single card. I sold a bunch of stuff. I sold about $1,000 worth of cards at the trade night. That was not my intent going in. There were some things that I wanted. There was actually a couple cards that I wanted, but I got beat out of for it. People got to the case before I could get there. You know who you are, First Bowmans. But it is what it is. It happens. It's all good. But I had a great time. It was a fantastic time. Like I said, I was not expecting to sell stuff. I sold a stack of low-end Marvel stuff. I've always done really well down there with low-end Marvel, like PSA 8s and 9s of like 90 MU, Jim Lee X-Men, like that sort of stuff. So I brought a stack of that stuff with me, and I sold almost all of it. 10 to 20 bucks a slab, nothing crazy. I sold my Bryce Harper First Bowman auto. I got about 500 bucks for that. I sold Baker Mayfield, Spectra, the Neon out of 75. That moved as well. But a lot of, people were spending. I saw cash deals go down. I saw trade deals go down. I do not know the details, but there was an insane, probably $30,000 to $40,000 trade that went on in the parking lot involving a stack of Donovan Mitchell RPAs and a insanely sick Connor McDavid RPA. PSA 10. It was wild, but I don't know the full details. There was cards involved. There was cash involved. It was 30 to 40K at least in value. But that was pretty wild. I caught the beginning and end of that. But yeah, it was overall a great time. Like I said, no pickups, so there won't be a pickup video from it. So we'll just kind of chat about it here. But yeah, that was a blast. It was an absolute blast. Once again, everyone that I talked to, hung out with, chatted with, thanks for coming up. It was a great social experience. If nothing else, got to hang out with some friends, like I said. But yeah, great time. Always a good time going down there. So vibes were good. It was packed. Like I said, and I continue to say this, interest in the hobby and sports cards remains extremely high. Like I said, look at the pictures on social media. There was a boatload of people at this thing. And, cash was moving a little bit from what I saw, at least my own personal experiences. Like I said, I sold a bunch of stuff. Football was hot, not surprising. I heard Zion's name thrown out a lot. And you also hear a lot of, down there, you'll hear a lot of Bengals, Reds, Browns, people looking for those individual players because it's in Columbus. So, everyone wants the Ohio guys. Indians prospects were a little spicy. Just general Ohio stuff always moves well at those trade nights. Another thing that happened this weekend, I talked about this at the trade night. I sold my Baker Flawless RPA, and I feel lost. I feel sad. I had it up on eBay. I got a pretty strong offer. I countered. He countered back. We met in the middle, and I moved it. So the Baker Flawless RPA is off to a new home somewhere in South Carolina. I wish you well, sir. I hope it brings you better luck than it brought me. So for the full disclosure on that one, I was into that card for a little over 2K. I sold it for a little over $1,000. I think I'll net out about 1,200 bucks after fees. So I probably lost about $800 or $900 on that card, give or take would be my best guess. So it is what it is. Obviously, the Baker situation did not play out the way that Browns fans hoped and thought that it would. And now we have wonderful Deshaun Watson. Oh, boy. Anyway, let's move on to happier times. Fake autographs. Let's get into the news and notes here. Like I said, we got a lot of news and notes stuff to kind of get through that I want to talk about. Autographs. The Austin Meadows, Randy Arozarena. This has made its way around social media. Videos have been done. I assume most people watching this video probably know what this is about, but for those that don't, brand new 2022 Topps Definitive, about $2,000 a box, released. Someone pulled one of these and said, those don't look correct. They ran it through a bunch of people, checked a bunch of stuff. Lo and behold, they are not accurate autographs. They were not signed by the players. No one really knows exactly what happened yet. This all happened fast. I think this initially hit on Wednesday or Thursday when this made its way around Twitter. And to Topps' credit, now, to Topps' discredit, this shouldn't happen to begin with. They need better accountability on this stuff. But to their credit, they responded extremely fast. This actually came out yesterday. Topps already responded. Anyone that has one of these cards will get a replacement card and a free box of 2022 Definitive Baseball, which is once again about a $2,000 box. So if you pull one of these, if you have one of these, it sounds like there'll be a way for you to send it in and get the card replaced and get a free $2,000 box of 2022 Topps Definitive. So pretty good deal there. I mean, I'll give them credit, Topps and Fanatics, for responding extremely quickly to this. They did not let this sit, which was smart. Once again, all these companies are going to screw up, whether it's a grading company, a manufacturer, just people in general. What I like to look at how they respond to it stuff's going to happen. But how quickly they react to it or not react to it or how they react to it, to me, is just as important. So it is nice to see that they got out in front of this and reacted extremely fast, which, once again, smart PR on their part to get ahead of this. And I think a pretty nice return for if you end up getting one of these cards, replacement card and another box. So hopefully that puts that to bed and we don't see more fake autographs running around. Whew. Next up, little Beckett talk. So we've been talking about them a bunch this week because we've been going through all the different grading data, this, that, and the other thing. The BGS Defense Force has been fired up in the comments section. And then completely unrelated, Card Porn made a post about them as well regarding some, fake different 90s inserts that are in BGS slabs and just Beckett's general lack of communication. And as we talked about on the videos this week, Beckett was the icon of the hobby and then just kind of went listless the last couple years. I don't even think their biggest fans could stand by and say that they haven't. Their communication's been poor, at best poor. And, just from my own personal, when we've been speaking about Beckett here on the channel a lot lately, I respect the Beckett slab. I own some of my nicest cards are in BGS slabs. I will actively buy and trade for BGS slabs. When we have the conversations around grading, it's all about, would you send them a raw card to grade? In most cases, for me personally, I don't have a use case for them. There are use cases for them. I don't personally have one because I just don't have a lot of RPAs laying around, that sort of stuff. I do think some of that sort of stuff still makes sense for them. But if you are just strictly raw to grade to flip, you follow the flow chart, you run the math, you run the numbers, there's only unique situations where they come up. It is what it is. It is what it is. Maybe it changes. I hope it does. The big thing that I wanted to talk about here is that Beckett themselves responded in the comments to that Card Porn post and also put this on their IG story saying that, essentially that the critique of their lack of communication is extremely accurate and they are looking to fix that. We'll see what happens. This is not the first time Beckett has said something like this. I would like to see them fix it. I would like for all these grading companies to be viable. It breeds competition. PSA lowering their, and we'll kind of transition into this next, PSA lowering their prices to $18, you could hate PSA. You could never want to grade with PSA in your entire life. Them, and say you're the biggest SGC or CSG fanboy in the world, whatever, pick a different company. PSA getting cheaper prices helps you, because that puts downward pressure on all the other grading companies to then most likely have to lower their prices. So whether you like PSA or not, them rolling out $18 grading is going to apply pressure to the grading company that you like to use, and they may end up lowering prices to reflect what PSA has done. And I know that this $18 thing is air quotes temporary. We'll see how all that flushes out. But breeding, if the four big boys, PSA, BGS, CSG, SGC, are all viable and competitive, we as consumers win. Keep that in mind. We win because it's going to breed competition, whether that's pricing competition, innovation, a whole host of different things. We win because they will be battling each other for our cards. And that means they're going to be trying to outdo each other. Once again, we win in that situation. Whether you like the companies or not, whatever one you like to use, as long as they're all in it and they all want to fight for that 1, 2, 3 spot, whatever it is, we're the winners in that. So just keep that in mind. The PSA thing, they announced some pricing and some situations for the National. I'm not really going to get into all that. The $18 pricing obviously rolled out, did the video on that. We'll kind of see how things filter out through there. I already have an idea of some cards that I want to send in for that. I may even do a video of, cards that make sense to send in at the $18 price point with the given turnaround time of 5 months from the time of submission. So, we'll kind of talk about that. The other thing, I did not mention this in that video, but I did pin a comment because I thought of it after and a commenter brought it up and was what kind of spurred it. The Nationals in New Jersey, they're accepting on-site drop-offs for this new value tier service at the National in New Jersey. Their new site is in New Jersey. It is extremely close to opening. There is fine print, I believe. I did not see this, so I'm taking word for it. That the cards dropped off at the National will take 2 weeks before they show up into the system. I have a sneaking suspicion. I would be willing to bet money that those cards dropped off at the National are going right up the coast a little bit to Jersey City and going to the new facility. I don't know that for sure. I'm just speculating. If you know you have a new facility getting ready to open up in New Jersey, why would you ship all those cards back to California where you could just drive them right up the coast? Pure speculation on my part. 100% pure speculation. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. With that being said, that covers most of the news and notes stuff that I wanted to get into. We'll go ahead and get into some pricing stuff. Like I said, we'll kind of keep that a little bit light since we're running a little long here. But first off, quick word from our sponsor, MySlabs.com, sponsoring today's video as they do. Home of the 1% seller fees with some PayPal goods and services mixed in on top. I actually just recently sold one of my Juan Soto pink refractors over on MySlabs earlier this week. MySlabs continues to be a fantastic platform. If you are not using it, I highly recommend checking it out. So let's get a quick word from them and then dive into some numbers.
The platform designed by collectors for collectors just got even better. MySlabs.com is proud to now feature dedicated sections for both raw cards and raw comic books. Browse over 100,000 slab collectibles, authenticated by the industry's most trusted grading companies. Then check out a massive selection of sealed wax and now raw singles and raw lots. Join a passionate, no-nonsense community of nearly 50,000 members and enjoy some of the best buyer and seller protection in the business. And as always, MySlabs offers one of the most disruptive pricing models in the hobby, with seller fees as low as only 1%. So the next time you're forced to pay 10%, 20%, or more to sell something from your collection, head over to MySlabs.com, the low-fee marketplace, by collectors, for collectors.
Once again, shout out to MySlabs for sponsoring today's video. First up, we're going to talk basketball. We're just going to talk really loosely around basketball. Prizm. NBA Prizm came out this week. It launched yesterday. Ryan, during the end of trade night, did a case break on whatnot of NBA Prizm. We'll see how it is. I've definitely seen some quality control issues, but I don't think we've seen enough yet to draw a good sample size from this yet, since the product's really only been out for a day. Retail obviously hasn't hit yet. As of right now, hobby boxes, you're doing about $1,200, a little under that, $1,100, $1,200. Single prices, I was gonna run some data. There's just not enough yet. Next week we'll look at that. Maybe I'll even do a midweek video depending on how sales filter out. But as of right now, I don't have a good gauge for a hierarchy of, where is Cade selling compared to Mobley, compared to Jalen Green, compared to Scotty Barnes on like base silver or raw silvers and that sort of stuff. So we should get some more of that information as things go on. I know a lot of people don't. I don't know why. The 2021 NBA draft class, this year's product, this draft class is absolutely loaded. There's a lot of really good players from this draft class. Beyond the guys that I just mentioned, there's a lot of very talented players. Now, are all those guys going to hold tons of hobby value? I have absolutely no idea. I just know it's a very good draft class. This would probably not be the worst wax to sit on, especially hobby boxes, if you were going to sit on wax. I don't think I would sit on retail of this stuff. I think I would quick flip retail and hold hobby boxes if it was me. I'm not necessarily a wax guy, but I just feel like retail is going to get printed into the ground again on this. You thought NFL Prizm was bad. I have a feeling NBA Prizm is going to be even way worse. Time will tell. So we'll see how single prices kind of fall out as we move throughout the week here. But still a little too fresh on the streets to get a good feel for that. Hopping into baseball really quick, just two players I want to talk about. I was looking at some 30-day data, and Mr. Acuna, I kind of posted about this earlier this week about his PSA 10 Topps Chrome autos sold for $800. I'd sold one of those back at Culture Collision for $1,650, I think, back in February. And those are down to $800 now. So two cards I want to look at. The Acuna bat down, PSA 10, pop 550 on this one. Over the last 30 days, down 16%, $250 drop. Not huge. And then I was also curious, just his base refractor, PSA 10 Topps Chrome. This one's taken a little bit of a harder beating from $395 down to $218. So these are sitting at $200 now, 44% drop over the last 30 days. Obviously, Acuna had a slow start to the year with the ACL recovery. Missed the first few months, and now has just gotten back on the field after some other little hiccups here and there. I still really like him as a player. I don't know that I want to throw money at his base refractors, but the auto going for $800, if I ran into another PSA 10 auto at that $800 comp, I'd be intrigued. One guy going up, Ohtani. He's had a insane month. He's been playing really, really well on both ends of the spectrum, both his pitching and his hitting. Now, the Angels continue to kind of meh, but Ohtani is absolutely insane. Some of his stuff is starting to creep up as well. Once again, this is a 30-day view. This is his X-Fractor is up 30%, and his Prizm is up 70% over the last 30 days. Some of his other stuff was up quite a bit as well. Some of his other stuff has been kind of flat. His base level refractor hasn't moved a ton. Some of the other shorter print stuff has jumped up in that same range, that 20 to 40% range on his stuff. But he's playing absolutely out of his mind right now. Football. Very quickly, we're going to look at some 21 Prizm data again. This is the custom report that GemRate set up for me. So this is not something that you could find on the website. This is something he specifically created for me, and this is to track the population data between the various companies. So he set this up for me for football, and there is also a basketball version that I will be able to use once that stuff starts hitting grading. So the purpose of this is twofold. One, I'm curious to see what the gem rate percentages are on this stuff, and then two, to kind of see where these cards are going, to kind of use that to judge how demand is filtering out for these grading companies. So first up, we have PSA sitting at that 26% gem rate. And this is now all, he grouped all the, like I said, these are custom reports. So these include all of 21 NFL Prizm. Just under 1,200 for the total cards graded with a 26% gem rate. SGC is sitting at 930 total cards graded from Prizm, 27% gem rate. So PSA and SGC grading very similar in regards to air quotes how tough they are grading 21 Prizm. Next up, we have CSG with 133 total cards graded. Only a 17% gem rate, though. You might say, well, they have a 9.5, so it's going to be a little bit stricter. SGC has a 9.5 as well, and they're sitting almost 10% higher at gem rate. But you could see right now, huge drop off from PSA and SGC. And then last but not least, BGS, aka Beckett, 72 total, but a 36% gem rate. And this is really kind of a microcosm of what we've been talking about. Beckett's grading scale with the BGS 9.5 and the subgrades allows you to really kind of manipulate that a little bit. If you have a card that has an issue and you think that's going to hold it back and probably get it a PSA 9, SGC 9, 9.5, whatever, some people will try to squirt that stuff through BGS. Because of the way their grading scale works, you can get a 9 on a corner and still get a 9.5 overall. Whereas with some of the companies, it may knock that down to a 9. Now, you can I can already hear the arguments in the comments down below. You can't argue the percentages. Now, I will give you sample size is small. Let's see how this thing kind of filters out once we get more cards graded and see what it says. The other interesting thing here is this is kind of falling to form in regards to how it's laying out. PSA has the most, which is actually slightly, that's not really that surprising, but you got to remember that's still probably only express tier and better. I really don't think regular service has hit yet, or it's probably just starting to trickle on. SGC basically has no turnaround time, so that's essentially all the cards that they're getting from 21 Prizm. They're getting probably flipped around and graded in a couple days. CSG, slower. You're looking at least a month before some lower end tiers filter in, so that's probably mostly mid-tier and up stuff in regards to the pricing on it. And then Beckett is probably just autograph. Oh, it's not just autographs, but like you would assume higher end cards because of their turnaround times are slow still on the standard level. So it would have to be nicer stuff. But only 72 cards on the population report for them. So once again, it kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of where the demand for grading. And once again, when I say I'm not talking about secondary market. I'm talking demand for grading services. That's it. That's all we're talking about with this. So it's kind of where we sit on that. This will be something I track continually. I don't know that I'm not going to do like daily updates or anything like that crazy on it. I don't even know if I'll include it every Sunday. It might be its own little quick little 5-10 minute video on occasion. We'll kind of see if the numbers take a big jump or there's major separation one way or the other. I'll fire something out there, but I am going to keep an eye on this. I'm going to continue to update this. So you guys or girls will continue to have this data. And same thing, once basketball starts rolling in, we will start tracking that data as well. Last but not least, still sticking with football, just kind of updating where we sit with Prizm Silver's Raw for 21 Prizm. Currently, here are your rankings. Mac Jones has kind of pulled away at around $190. Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence are basically neck and neck. They bounce around 130 to 150, kind of just depending on the day. Justin Fields sitting a little under $100. Zach Wilson sitting right along with Justin Fields. Those two kind of sit in that $80 to $100 price tier, if you will. Then it drops down. Jamar Chase price corrected. It looked like there was just some outlier sales on his stuff. We had talked about him in a Prizm video last week. Him and Davis Mills are sitting at around that $50 price tag. And then it drops down. Micah Parsons at $20. I had this limited to $20 or higher sales. So that's why that's all that we're seeing there. I will continue to do this for football, kind of keep an eye on it. And then we are now starting to see some graded stuff hit. So as we start to see graded sales, I'll keep an eye on that as well. And then once again, we will spin this up for Prizm basketball as well. I may do it as kind of like how I was doing the football Prizm updates. I may do the same thing with NBA Prizm, kind of talk about how that stuff's selling, what it's looking like. But we need at least a couple weeks worth of data on that before we start doing full dive videos on that. But I wanted to touch on it quickly here. That's all I have for you guys and girls today. like I said, a little news heavy today. Plus, I have the Card Collector 2 update stuff. This week, got a couple things. I have a very interesting video tomorrow. I made a very large purchase of a product that has never been seen on the channel before. Something I've talked about before, but never been seen on the channel before, and it is completely against the mold of what I typically do. So that is tomorrow's video for sure, unless something crazy happens. It's already recorded. So I need to do a mail day video. I'm waiting on one more package. My mail day video is as random as you could possibly get. It is all sorts. Guys and girls are gonna be like, wait, what? What is he buying? Once again, that'll be a very interesting video. Kind of really shifting. I don't want to say strategies. I guess strategies is probably the right word for it. Because there's definitely some stuff in there that, once again, the video tomorrow and whenever I do the pickup video, there's some stuff in there that you would not expect me to be buying. It is stuff that is very not what I typically buy. And it's not just like non-sports cards. There's the pickup video will have some comic books in it, some pop culture stuff, some baseball, some basketball. But the sports card side of things, people are going to be like, are you okay? Did you get body swapped? What is happening right now? For anyone that's watched the channel for a while. So I at least know I have those two videos, and there might be a third video where we rip some wax. We'll see. And whatever else pops up. Last week was a very news-heavy week. I don't know if this week will be the same. And we were on the fast track to the National, boys and girls. Fast track to the National. If you're going, you better be getting ready. Better be getting ready. So like, comment, subscribe. Once again, shout out to MySlabs for sponsoring today's video. Catch you guys and girls on the next one. Rip Baker Mayfield. Peace.